All right. Today's talk is, I guess, in part a reminder to myself, as much as it is I hesitate to use the word that I was going to use. I was going to say piece of advice or some advice for you, because I don't really like giving people advice. There really is only one piece of advice that maybe two, that I feel comfortable with giving people. And the first piece of advice is that drinking water is probably a good idea for you. No matter who you are, where you are, whatever walk of life, water is probably a good thing for you, assuming it's clean water. If it's poisoned water, then obviously that advice goes right out the window. Or if you have some sort of strange medical condition that makes drinking water a bad idea, then obviously the advice goes out the window. And then the other thing that I feel pretty confident in giving advice on is it's probably a good idea to learn about the monetary system to some degree. How money works, what assets are, why people invest, why having an asset, a hard asset, real estate, tangible goods, collectibles, fine art, etc., why those are better in many cases than holding on to fiat currency, which suffers from inflation and debasement and all the other things. And on the point of the money side of things, we can talk about Bitcoin. And I've said on different things that I've done that I think it's a good idea to learn about Bitcoin. And I do, but that's more to do with the tie-in to all of money and how money works and why money is important, everything I just outlined a second ago. And when I first started learning about Bitcoin, which led to so many other things, my thought was, I gotta tell more people about this. Holy crap, we're living in a system that enslaves us and working to prop that very system up by the things that we do and by utilizing this terrible, horrible fiat currency, USD or wherever it is. I mean, the US dollar is one of, if not the strongest of the currencies, and it still suffers from everything that I outlined a moment ago. But something I realized is that, much like that scene in The Matrix where Neo sees the woman in the red dress, and you've seen this talked about in the Bitcoin space almost certainly if you've been around for a little while. I think Guy Swan did a dub over of that, making it more Bitcoin-centric, talking about the people. They're so enslaved, they're so a part of the system that they don't want to get out. They're kind of, it's a symbiotic relationship between the system and the people, because they are both benefiting, but one is benefiting more. So I guess it is more of a parasitic relationship. But what I came to realize pretty quick is that trying to wake people up, inform people of this issue, is a fool's errand. It honestly, truly is. And this is true of anything. If you learn that this pen, I think I found this. I did find this. Found it on a set of stairs when I was going to a farmer's market. If you find out that this pen is really good, and you're going around like, you got to stop using those Bic pens. You have to get this. Okay. All right, man. To most people, you're going to sound like a crazy person, because you're coming off as a crazy person. There's really no way to go around and convince somebody that this is the best pen that they should be using, or no, you don't understand this mic. And I'm saying, not like, listen to this mic compared to this mic. Do you hear how this one's better? If you're going to do podcasting, or if you're going to do anything, some sort of streaming or whatever, you want a good quality mic. And this is something that I learned early on researching YouTube and how to make videos, and that it's a whole rabbit hole with lighting and this and cameras and blah, blah, blah. It's massive. Just like anything. You start researching anything, it connects to so many things. There's so many layers to it. If you were to research mugs, there'd be consistency of the weight and the pressures and the kilns. It's just nothing is outside of the realm of these endless rabbit holes. So if you go up to somebody and try and convince them that a mic is really good, and you go, hey, you are using a mic, I see you using that mic, and that's not a good mic. Here, I'll prove it to you. Here's how your mic sounds. Here it is. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then here's how my mic sounds. This other one that I'm using, and see how that sounds. And the person, even then, might go, well, I actually like the way this one sounds. I guess I can hear what you're saying, that yours is a better quality mic and it's more expensive or less expensive, whatever the case may be. But I like, with my voice, how this one sounds. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, there's nothing you can do with that. I used to watch a gun tuber. I don't have any idea what his name was, but he would review guns. And one of the metrics that he would review it on, there was accuracy and durability, and I don't know, like doing a mud test or whatever. Does it still shoot when I dunk it in mud? Or he had a bunch of different criteria. But one of them was I don't remember what he called it, but it was something like the I like it factor. It's, I know this gun might not be the most accurate. I've shot things that were more accurate, or it's more durable, whatever the case may be. So it doesn't score all that great on these other metrics, but I just really like this gun. There's something about it. And I really can't put my finger on what it is, but the way it feels in my hand is part of that. It's just kind of the whole package. I like it. And even though it's objectively not as good of a gun by all of these metrics that I go off of, I like it. I just like it. And that counts for a lot. That counts for a lot. I played this game back in the day called Velvet Assassin, and it was not a great game by any stretch of the imagination. I think it was loosely based off of a real story, a true story about a gal that was an assassin, I think, and she killed Nazis or something like that. And so it was sort of like a really not great Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cells, sneaking around, stab the Nazis type thing. But I really liked it. It wasn't a good game. It wasn't terrible, but it didn't win any awards from what I remember. It wasn't critically acclaimed as one of the greatest games of our generation, a must play for everyone. But I liked the setting. I liked the gal. I thought it was neat. I dug it. I only played it one time, I think, but I thought I had fun with that. And I enjoyed it. I mean, even before I played it, I remember looking at reviews and people were like, this is not a great game. I'm like, whatever, it looks good to me. And I think it was on sale for $5 or something, 10. So I was like, no big loss. And out of the, I don't know, 8 to 12 hours or whatever I spent on it, I thought that was worth it. I enjoyed it. And I still think about that game occasionally. Like, yeah, I had fun with that. So that alone was worth it. My point here to all of this is that if you are into Bitcoin and you understand Bitcoin relatively well, you've done some cold storage, you understand why sound hard money is a good thing and why fiat money is a bad thing, and you generally get Bitcoin. You might not be super, super knowledgeable about all the nitty gritty details about how mining and nodes, and there, as I pointed out earlier, as with anything, there's so many rabbit holes and different ways that things can go. And you might not have a full 100% understanding of all of those things, especially the technical aspects, which is where I kind of go, okay. all this stuff recently talking about signatures and checking this with your hardware wallets and dark skippy this, and it's like, man, I don't even, what the fuck are we even doing here? What are you talking about? Who is this going to affect? Some people, I suppose. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. It didn't seem like a vulnerability in the sense of, oh, if you use this device, there is a high likelihood, like a 75% or greater chance, that the funds will just be siphoned from your wallet into somebody else's somehow. It didn't sound like that. So don't use these wallets. It was more like, well, if somebody gets a hold of it, and I don't even know exactly how it works, but if somebody were to compromise it and they have your wallet and then they did something and some backdoor, okay. All right. Yep. What? If you're into Bitcoin and you see people around you that are, really, I don't know of a better word for this, but suffering to some degree. They're feeling the weight of prices rising. They're feeling the weight of not having as much money as they would like. They're feeling the weight of, boy, it kind of sucks that I don't own a home. Or if I do own a home ownership is really fucking expensive. It's not great. There's benefits to having a home. Yeah, absolutely. You have a place to live. Hey, that's one of the big ones right there. You have a private place that you can go and be you and walk around naked if you want, assuming it's not going to bother the people that you're living with. But let's assume you live by yourself or with a significant other or something. You don't have roommates and you don't have children. That would be, depending on their age. Like if they're infants, then who cares? Whatever. But if they're like 8 years old or 15-year-old, it might be kind of weird if you're walking around naked. Well, so let's assume no children. Just keep it real above board here. No children. It's you and your spouse or your girlfriend, whatever. You can walk around naked if you want. You can have a beer at 8 a.m. if you want. We're assuming you're into your 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s or older. If you want to smoke in your house, you can do that. It might not help you with the resale value later on if you're interested in doing that, but you can do that. That's totally allowed. There's no law saying you can't do that. You could have chickens in your house. I think. I'm pretty sure that's. I don't know why you would. That'd be pretty disgusting and they'd be loud and be obnoxious. But you could. You can have a dog in your house. You can have cats in your house. There's no landlord telling you that you can't do this. If you want to get rid of your fridge and get a different fridge, you can do that. If you want to have 2 fridges, you can do that. Whatever you want to do. If you want to leave the water running for 24 hours a day because you just like the sound of it, you can do that. You're going to pay a lot of money for all that water that you're using, but if it's worth it to you, you can do that. I wouldn't advise it. I think it's not the greatest idea, but you can. You can do that. Unless you're in an area or a state where they're experiencing a drought, then that might not be a good idea, but then people still water their lawns and do all sorts of other stuff, so whatever. If you go and try to explain to somebody that does not care or even somewhat cares about Bitcoin, you are worse than wasting your time. The best case scenario is that you're only wasting your time. But what's more likely is you're making this person go, you know what, I don't want to listen to you. And the next time I hear about this stupid fucking Bitcoin thing, I don't want to listen to that person either. Yeah, I understand. Everybody gets Bitcoin at the price that they deserve. Yeah, I understand that. Yep, totally get that. And I understand the desire to want to save people. I want to be the one to, it might not even be a selfish thing. It might not even be, I want to be the guy that goes and rescues my my parents or my friends or my coworkers, whatever. It might be of a truly honest to God, deep felt, I don't care who saves them. I don't care if it's me or Safadine or Sailor or whatever podcast they listen to or book they read. I just want them to not have to deal with this horrible situation that we're in with money losing its value constantly over time. It's not getting more valuable. The time that you spend and put into fiat money isn't getting more valuable. It's getting less valuable. People seem to think that, oh, look, these boomers, they bought these houses for $70,000 back in the 60s, the 70s, whatever the case may be. And now they can sell them for $1.5 million. Wow, isn't that so great? No, it's not so great. It's not. Because salaries haven't risen that much. So not nearly as many people even have the opportunity to buy the home. And prices on everything else have gone up. So you're not, it doesn't really, like your investment didn't really go up in value. Exactly. I mean, it kind of did, but everything else went up in price as well. So it's all just kind of a wash. It's not, doesn't, yeah. The only time that you should be telling somebody about Bitcoin is if they ask you about it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever mention it. If somebody asks you, oh, what'd you do this weekend? And you went to a Bitcoin meetup, say that, be honest. That's fine. And if they're like, oh, okay, cool. Then just leave it at that. Like, don't be like, yeah, and we talked about this, and Ludwig von Mises, and oh, did you know that, and money laundering, and seed oil? It's just like, whoa, guy, just, holy stop. What the fuck? You're not doing yourself any favors. You're wasting your time. You look like a wackadoo, and the next time it comes, the person's going to avoid that subject from that point on if they're a little bit, you know what, okay, forget I asked. Now if they say, hey, what'd you do this weekend? You say, oh, I went to a Bitcoin meetup. And like, oh yeah? A meetup? What was that? What do you do? Do you talk about Bitcoin? Yeah, basically. Oh. Like what do you talk about? Kind of all sorts of things. I mean, it's I guess you call it a Bitcoin meetup, but we don't honestly talk about Bitcoin that much. It comes up for sure, but the conversation goes all over the place. Be more coy, be less forthright, and that will garner curiosity. Oh, really? Like, what else do you talk about? We talk about diet and food and the quality of cars and space travel. What? Really? Space travel? Yeah, it comes up. Like, how does that, what does space travel have to do with Bitcoin? Well, I mean, I don't, everything's tied to money. Well, yeah, sure, I'd agree with that. And it's curious that the U.S. government, which has one of the largest budgets of any entity, I mean, they have more money to swing around than Apple or Microsoft. They can, if they want to generate multiple trillions of dollars, they can do that, as we've seen numerous times. Yeah. It's just interesting that Elon Musk and his SpaceX venture is doing more than NASA at this point. Huh, yeah, that is interesting. Well, what does that have to do with Bitcoin? And then you go on to talk about private enterprises, and you can talk about this or that, or you can talk about how people have speculated with putting miners in space or different things, like having a node on a satellite. It's just an interplanetary and having a monetary system that works both here and on Mars and maybe beyond, and blah blah blah. There's so many different places and ways that you can go. This isn't going to be all that long of a one. I think I'm probably going to end it here in the next 11 minutes or so. So let's top out at 30 minutes. But the whole reason that this even came to mind, and maybe I should have started here, I guess I'm Tarantinoing this one, is the other day, my wife had done laundry, and there were 2 baskets of unfolded laundry, but washed, clean, done laundry, aside from being folded, sitting in the living room. And I don't remember exactly how it came up, but at some point, some exchange, there was, well, I don't know if I'd call it an argument, but kind of a back and forth took place. And she was saying, well, why don't you just know, this is not her exact words, but it was something along the lines of, well, you know that the laundry doesn't belong in the baskets in the living room on the floor. And so you can assume that it needs to be put away, folded and put away. And my comeback to that was, no, I don't know that. I actually don't. You're right that I do know that this isn't where laundry belongs. Yes, I will grant you that. Yeah, okay, yes, I do know that. But I don't know that I should be doing that. Because there have been times where I have gone to do that very thing, start folding, and I get scolded for it. Maybe not scolded, but told, oh, wait, hang on. I need to do this or that, or I actually need to hang those things. They shouldn't be folded because they're still slightly damp or this or that. I didn't do the laundry. I have done it, but in this particular instance, this one time that I'm talking about, I didn't do it. And I do know from numerous times having done the laundry, that there are certain rules about certain things, and these items of yours need to be hung and these should be folded, but you don't always like the way that I fold it, so it needs to be done in this particular way. And so usually I just go, I'm not folding it because I don't fucking even know what the way is. So I'm going to leave that to you because I have routinely gotten it wrong somehow. No, I didn't have this light on. And she made the argument, well, you know to do these other things around the house. And I go, no, it's different. It's entirely different that I will run water through our water filter and get that done. Because that is something that is done the exact same way. There's never any variation to it. It's if the water is low in the holding reservoir, then I refill the water in the filter to refill the reservoir. And it's never been any other way than that ever. There's never once ever been a time where you've gone, oh, wait, actually only fill that halfway because I have plans for the filters and I need to do something. That's never happened. Never once. It's never been, oh, don't fill that because I don't want water. I don't want to have filtered water. Never happened. Never once. So I've never messed that one up. So there's this running program in my mind, this .exe, if you will, that says, if the water is empty, refill the water. If the water is empty, refill the water. And that is just in my head. And it took like a year for that program to get running. But now that it's running, it just isn't going to stop. They're just going to go and go and go. Until I'm told, hey, don't do that anymore because of X, Y, Z reason. Then I'll have to go, oh, okay, now I don't do this anymore. And I'll probably screw it up a few times before I go, okay, I got to replace that program with the new program. We don't refill the water anymore that way because we have to, I don't know, do something else first before we filter it. I don't know. I don't foresee that happening, but hey, it could. And I got really animated and I wouldn't say heated, but really involved in explaining this to her because just a few days before having that conversation about the laundry, we had talked about seeing things at different levels. And I don't remember exactly how it came up, but we were driving home from somewhere and I was talking about how there's 2 ends of the extreme, and then there's all the variation in between. But on the one end of the extreme, as I'm driving along, You could be so focused on that letter on the person's license plate ahead of you, even just a piece of the letter, that everything else out is just kind of noise. You're not paying attention to anything else. You don't see the kid that's up there that you should be paying attention to because he might run into the street. He's playing with a ball, and sometimes balls go into the street. You don't see the light that's changing. You don't see none of it. For whatever reason, you're just completely focused on this one part of the person in front of you's license plate. Just this tiny little fraction of it. I don't know why you're doing that, but you are. And on the other end of the extreme is that you're not really paying attention to anything. You're just sort of existing in this sort of meditative state where, yes, there's a kid over there and it's a nice day, and then there's cars and there's a street light, and then there's homes over here, and I'm on the street and I'm going 25 miles an hour and my foot is on the gas, and you're sort of there experiencing it all. If you're driving, you need to be somewhere between those two. You shouldn't be just sort of, life is happening. That's fine if you're sitting somewhere in a park or at home and you are meditating. That's fine and dandy. Yeah, good. Exist in the moment. But you also don't want to be completely focused in on something so minute that you're missing everything. You want to be somewhere between the two. Imagine you walk into my living room, or I walk into yours. I walk into your living room, your room, some space of yours, and you say, "What do you see?" What do you mean? What do I see? What do you want me to? Do you just want me to start listing all the things that I see? Is something out of place? Because this is the first time I've ever been here. Or if you were over at my place, this is the first time that you've ever been here. I don't understand the question. On what level should I be looking? I see carpet, I see a ceiling, I see paint on the ceiling, I mean, how long, what do you want me to just start listing all the things that I see? No. No, there's something you should notice. I have no fucking clue what I should notice. Come on, you'll see it when you see it. Well, I don't see a clown doing cartwheels, so there's nothing that obvious. I don't know, man. Come on. You didn't notice on my bed? There's a pillow. Yep. That's where pillows often are. Yeah, but I don't usually have a pillow on my bed. I told you this. You don't remember? 3 years ago when we were camping and I didn't have a pillow with me and you said, "Oh, you don't bring a pillow. We're car camping. You could bring a pillow." And I told you, no, when I'm camping, I like to sleep on my arm because when I grew up, I never slept with a pillow when I went camping. It was kind of part of the thing, and I just kind of got used to it. And so now I just got used to sleeping without a pillow at my home. I told you this. Remember 3 years ago when we were camping? Okay, yeah, that's ringing a bell. Well, I have a pillow now. I got a pillow. You didn't notice that? Is this a joke? What are we doing here? Man, I thought we were good friends. I thought you would notice that I got a pillow. Where's the cameras? This is a fucking joke. No, man, it's not a joke. I thought we were better friends than that. I figured you would notice that I got a pillow after what I told you. 3 years ago? It's not that long. It's 3 years. But it's not like 4 or 5. What the fuck is going on here? What is this? What the fuck are we doing? So, when my wife expected me to see the situation the way that she saw the situation, I said, that's not how it works. I don't see the situation the way that you see this situation. I can't. I don't know what's going on here. That's why I need you to tell me. And it's really not that big of an ask. If you're seeing a need, to say, "Hey, will you help me with this need?" I do it all the time. "Hey, will you put those dishes away? Hey, will you help me? Will you grab a drying towel for me?" Hey, will you do this? Would you chop those onions? Would you move that out of the way? I'm going to head outside. Will you grab that for me before I go outside? People can't read each other's minds, so we use words to do that. The way this ties into Bitcoin, and I'm going to end on this point here, is that there are so many levels and layers to Bitcoin that it's like how do I describe this? The first way that came to mind might not be the greatest analogy, but I'm going to go with it anyways. Imagine a chain link fence, a big chain link fence, and each of those holes in the chain link fence represents a way to get through the chain link fence. Let's say you're a fly, and you can fly through that. It all leads to the exact same place, the other side of the chain link fence. But imagine that each hole looks a little bit different. Well, one of those holes is the correct hole for you. It's the right one for you to fly through to get to the other side. And if you're with your buddy and you go, look, we're going to get to the other side of that fence. And he goes, oh, whoa, man, how do we do that? And you go, I don't really go through one of the holes. It's just, we go through one of them. It doesn't really matter which one. It's like, whoa, they're all a little bit different. Okay, yeah, it doesn't really matter which one we go through. It matters to me, man. I don't like most of those. Okay, well, let's go through this one. No, I don't really like that one. Okay, let's go through that one. Well, that one's worse. Okay, which one do you like? Man, I don't know. There's so many there. I don't know. Okay, but they all lead to the same place, dude. It doesn't really matter. It matters. Okay, it matters. Like I said, not the greatest analogy, but what I'm trying to illustrate there is that if you pick the wrong way to approach Bitcoin with somebody, if you come at it from the seed oil angle, if you come at it from this angle, if you come about it from the historical angle, if you come about it from the digital gold angle, if you come about it from the freedom money angle, if you come about it from... One of those might work for the person you're talking to, but none of them might work as well. So it's a complete crapshoot. And because you can only talk about one thing at a time, you can't be talking about all of the angles at the exact same time, you have to pick which one you're going to come at them with. And you could go, well, I know this person. He cares about health. He's always talking about diet and how he really wants to make sure that he's eating the best quality food. So seed oils, that's the way that I'm going to go with him. It might work, but he might also go, yo, I don't want you talking to me about diet. I got my diet locked in. I know what I'm doing. I'm good. I've done so much research on food and what I want to put in my body that there's really nothing that you can say who has done really not that much research comparatively that's going to tell me about it, and you want to connect this to Bitcoin somehow, get the fuck out of here. I'm not interested. Waste of your time. Waste of your time. There's one time, really only one time, that I think you should even spend the time trying to talk to somebody about Bitcoin, and that's when they ask you about it. And they have to be genuinely interested in it. Hey, so I was watching this video. It was a podcast between blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And they were talking about Bitcoin, and a lot of the things that they were saying made a lot of sense. I know you're into Bitcoin. Have you seen that episode? Yeah, I have. Or no, I haven't. I'll watch it and see what, yeah, you watch it and let me know what you think. Okay. You watch it, you meet him up with him, and the next time you see him, maybe it's a coworker. Okay, yeah, I watched it. So-and-so is a really good host. I actually have watched a lot of his episodes, and I hadn't seen that particular one, but that was an interesting one. What did you think about it? Well, I think what they were talking about, da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da, was really interesting, and I never had thought about it that way. Yeah, no, that's definitely a part of Bitcoin. If you got any questions, let me know, and I can do my best to answer them. Well, I was wondering how blah, blah, blah works. That's when you should talk to somebody. But if you're just like, Hey, Jim, did you know that Ludwig von Mises said blah, blah, blah? And did you know Hayek said blah, blah, blah? You got it. You're still putting money into your 401k. Man, what are you doing? Don't you understand how the stock market works? And there's really only like 7 companies on the S&P 500. There's 500 companies, but only about 7, less than a dozen, are even very profitable. Do you know which, like, yeah, so I put my money into the whole S&P 500. But yeah, man, but why not just put it into the 7? Don't you think that makes more sense? Well, I don't know which 7. That's my point. That's my point. Why wouldn't you put your money into something more secure like Bitcoin? Man, enough with the Bitcoin thing. No, listen to me. No, go fuck yourself. Man, have fun staying poor, bro. Oh, okay, yeah. That he's really gonna listen to you now. Definitely. Stop wasting your time trying to explain Bitcoin to people that don't give a shit. You're wasting your time. There are 2 main reasons. I guess I'll end on this. 2 main reasons. 2. 1, 2. Why people will become interested in Bitcoin. The first reason is the price goes up and people want to get rich. I want money. I want to be able to buy more things and do more things with the money. It's going up, up. It will keep going up. It has always gone up. It will keep going up. Maybe sometimes down, but almost always up, right? I will get some now. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is a less likely reason that people will become interested in it because they won't really see how it all connects, but it's a reason, and it's they feel the hurt. They feel the pain. They feel fiat money not doing them any favors. I go to the grocery store, I get less. I spend the same amount of money, but my grocery cart is less full. And less full. And less full. And if I want it to stay the same amount of full, I have to spend more money. But I'm not making more money. Or I am, but it's not going up at the same rate that the food is going up. And this is gonna not work eventually. Eventually, all of my money is gonna be going to food, which means I won't have enough money for rent. How do I pay for gas or get anything that I want? Ah, shit. Is there something else that I can do here? Because this seems really bad. That'll also get some people interested in Bitcoin. But those are the 2 main reasons. Those are the 2 main reasons. And nothing else. So save your breath. Go do something interesting. I don't know, furiously masturbate. That would be a much better use of your time than trying to explain Bitcoin to somebody that doesn't give a shit. So wait until they care. Alright.